Hey everyone, so this is my facility for project 1. So I'm just going to pull up my slideshow. Okay, so my facility was the Rodney Myers Aquatic Center. This is image 1, which is half of the pool, the Aquatic Center. Okay, so introduction. Delta States Aquatic Center was built in 2001. At the time, the face value cost $7 million to construct. In today's money, that was about $110 per square foot. And it costs around $20 million to build today if we decided to build it today. The facility was designed by Singleton Architects and was built by Roy Collins Construction Incorporated. The interesting thing about the Aquatic Center was that a board of members were asked to provide a list of everything that was needed to be done within the facility. This is called programming. So for the programming, they included stuff like diving, competitive swimming, scuba diving, being able to teach classes like personal survival, lifeguarding, and also being able to teach swimming lessons in the facility. Also during the program, a little fun fact, in the designs, they were trying to find a way to save money. The balcony that can be found later in this PowerPoint I'll show you, where the seating is found, the staircases to the building were actually meant to be outside and come into the building. However, by simply moving that inside and creating a hallway down the bottom, they saved $200,000 in doing this. So during my interview with Ronnie Myers, who has been at Delta State for 43 years, I believe he's been teaching, and he was here as a student for 4. He said, and quote, "It's a large classroom that has water in it." Now, I found this interesting because he talked about how the building and the facility was built to be available to the community so that everyone could learn and be taught in the facility. Okay, here's a picture of the balcony that I talked about in the background where the seating is found, and a couple of the lengths of the pool. Okay, so some of the facility strengths. So like I mentioned earlier, one of the greatest attributes of the facility was when it was designed, the needs of those who were going to be using it were at heart, and also through the use of programming. And they created a list through the board of committees to create the pool and facility that we have today. So we have, like I mentioned earlier on, competitive swim, life-saving classes. Scuba diving can be used in this pool because it's deep enough at 18 feet in the middle. We have water aerobics and diving. Another strength that is a pretty impressive strength is the pool was designed to be able to change course, meaning that the standard 25 meters can be extended to 50 meters in length. Now, you won't find this in most pools, and that is why we are currently able to host the NSISC Championships every year at Delta State for the competitive swim team. Most, like I said, pools do not have this at the standard 25 meters and therefore cannot host. So we're pretty fortunate in the facility to be able to do that annually. And here's a picture of the NSISC Championships last week as they were hosted here. Delta State men's finished number 1 and the women's finished number 2. So some more of the facility strengths. The facility also has changing rooms for both public use and the competitive swim and dive team. So later on in the slideshow, I'll point out the locker rooms. We have both male and female locker rooms. And in between these female locker rooms is actually the swim and dive teams locker rooms that are only access to them. We're pretty fortunate to have 4 locker rooms in one facility, as it allows to accommodate everyone to come and play or train at the facility. Also, adjacent to the locker rooms, there is also an athletic training room, which is actually within the building. Now, most facilities, especially swim facilities, do not have this in-house, and usually can be found elsewhere on site in universities. So again, we're pretty fortunate that when the building was designed, that they included such and incorporated this component. Okay, here's a picture of the male locker room from one angle, and behind this picture of where I took it from is actually the male's locker room that you can only have access to if you are a swimmer. This is the athletic training room that's found in-house at the pool and the facility itself. So again, like I mentioned, the athletes can be looked after in-house. So if they have any injuries within the pool, they can get straight into the treatment room and get looked after. Okay, moving on to some of the facility issues. Now, this facility was built in 2001. We are currently in 2020. That means that the facility is coming up to 20 years old. And with any facility at this age, you're going to start to see wear and tear. Now, the main issue with the facility is currently the HVAC system, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So since they're just over 18 years old, they're starting to not work effectively and are actually being replaced this summer. It's going to cost the school $1 million. Now, this facility was built and designed and is pretty big. So we have 2 HVAC systems, one on either side of the pool, due to the actual size of the facility. Here are some of the pictures of the actual HVAC system on the left-hand side of the facility. So you can see the metal silverware that is actually the HVAC system itself. And here are some of the pipes. As you can see, I'm going to zoom in just a second. They're actually starting to rust and therefore not working efficiently. So some of the problems that have been found in the pool are that when it's full at capacity of nearly 2,500 spectators, it becomes too hot and sweaty in the facility, and I can vouch for that myself as I was watching the NSISC Championships last week. So due to them not removing the moisture in the air, people are starting to get hot and it's not cooling efficiently. So you can see the pipes need to be replaced and the actual system itself needs to be fully restored. And this picture shows that we even have leaks in one of the HVAC systems. So it's pretty serious right now. Okay, so moving on slightly, some of the other facilities issues is the equipment in the facility needs updating. So this includes the starting blocks and the scoreboard. To replace the starting blocks, it's going to cost around $40,000. Now they need to do this fairly soon, within the next year or 2. This is due to the actually being outdated. So if they want to continue to host the NSISC Championships, then they need to replace these fairly soon. The scoreboard, however, is not an immediate fix. It will cost around $150,000 to fix, and that just needs updating as it's starting to become old. So here's a picture of the starting blocks. As you can see, they are fairly worn and they do need to be replaced. And then the scoreboard, as you can see down the bottom, they actually have the trophies in there from the other week when the men and women's did very well in their conference. Okay, and the final issue is the facility is starting to have aesthetic problems. So the paint is starting to peel off the walls and drains are starting to not function properly. Now with this, obviously, it just doesn't look appealing, does it? So a paint job could be done hopefully over the summer by maintenance. Now, when I talked to Mr. Ronnie, he didn't really give me an estimate of this, and I believe it may just be touched up in the areas that are extremely bad. As you can see on the picture on the right, it's starting to peel fairly bad. And here's a couple more different areas. And then one of the drains is starting to actually, that's dirt and water that's just overflowing and not draining away properly. So with that, it can be a hazard actually on the pool deck. So Mr. Ronnie said that the pool deck actually needs retiling in the future. Now, this is on a backlog as there's a few other things that are more important right now, such as the HVAC system. So with it all being outdated, it just needs to be really changed and restored in order to keep hosting the NSIC Championships, as well as being able to be a facility for the community itself. So in conclusion, the Ronnie Myers Aquatic Centre is used as a communal building that allows people from the surrounding area to have access to a facility that many would not normally have. We're pretty fortunate to be the only pool at D2 level in Mississippi. It encourages an active and healthy lifestyle whilst providing a learning environment for the regular people all the way to the collegiate athlete. So basically the facility, we're pretty fortunate as students, staff, people from the community, and obviously the Delta State swim team have access to this on a daily basis. Now, not many places or states can say that they have this available to them in their town. All right, thank you very much. Hope it was informational.